What is going on, everybody? Today is Tuesday, March 15th, and you haven't seen me in a while, right? Because nothing's been happening. Pretty much Bitcoin's been trading sideways between 37,000 and 40,000, right? The altcoins, every time they give you 15 or 20%, they take it back the next day or two. So everything's just been trading sideways. There's nothing been doing unless you're trading on the lower term time frames where you could get those swings. There's nothing to do. So what I do when there's nothing going on is I look at my current trading system and I back test different things and just try to find if I can make it better, right? And I'll try different indicators. I'll take existing indicators and I'll change the settings on them, and then I'll back test it and say, well, if I did this every time this happened, what would that look like, right? Take, for example, let's say the Ichimoku cloud, the break of the Ichimoku cloud, right? Technically, when we break the cloud, that is a buy signal. But what if I didn't take it on the first candle it broke? What if I waited 3 or 4 candles? What would that look like? How would that change my statistics over time? And I'll go back over 3 or 4 years, sometimes a year. If the chart I'm looking at has uptrends, downtrends, and sideways action all within a year, I'll test it out on a year. Sometimes I'll go 2 years, 3 years, so that I have a good range of the market, right? So I have a nice downtrend. I want to see how it reacts in a downtrend. I want to see how it reacts in an uptrend. I want to see how it reacts while price is just moving sideways. So sometimes I'll go do 2 years. What I came up with this time goes back about 2 years. I did 2 years of Litecoin. It just happened to be the chart that was on my screen when I came up with it, so I back tested it on Litecoin. And it's looking pretty good. We're going to go over the results tonight of what I came up with. And, I still have to back test it on some other things like Bitcoin, or maybe even do it with a stock, right? And see how it works in maybe Forex and other markets. But for now, it looks pretty damn good. So we're going to go over the results of that. We're also going to show you the changes we made on the Ichimoku chart. And guys, I can tell you, I am so glad daylight savings time is here, because I find it really hard to trade between 5 and 7 p.m. It just doesn't work really well with my schedule, but I make it happen. But now that we're back to 6 o'clock, right? The candle closes 8 o'clock p.m. on Eastern Standard Time. So now I can start looking charts at 6 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. and be done with my trading by 8 p.m. So that's good, because it'll get more videos out there. I'll have a little bit more time. All right, let's go right into the charts. Let's look at Bitcoin. Not much to say on Bitcoin, guys. Really, it's still in that range it's been in for quite some time. Let's look at the week, right? We're still holding the cloud, right? Does look like it wants to break, but we did this last week, right? It looked like it was about to break, and by the end of the week, came back down. We did it this week, and this week came all the way up, and by Sunday, it was right back under here. So I don't know, guys. I'm just pretty much, I think the best thing to do is stay and wait for it to break this range, right? We've been talking about this big candle for 7 weeks now. It's just been in this range. So until we break and go up, right, not much to do. I think there's other trades to be had. If you think Bitcoin's going to go up here, guess what? All the altcoins are going to go up with it, most likely. And if that happens, they'll see usually better percentage than Bitcoin. So if you want to get in some and you see another trade to be had, you're probably better off putting your 2% into that, right? your 2% risk into another coin. Let's look at the daily real quick, right? Daily looks great, but we're still being held back by the Kijutsu and the Tenketsu, right? We're still below it. We've been below it this whole point. We broke through here, got to the top of the range, but we got rejected here, here, right? Every time it gets here, it gets rejected back. So let's see if it breaks tonight. Could get knocked back down again. But let's talk about the chart. You might see some changes here, right? So I'm a very visual trader, right? I like to see things very quickly because I go through so many assets at a time that I don't want to have to look through it real quick. I just want to glance at it and say, no, right? And then when I have 3 or 4 things that are signaling, then I could pay more attention to those things and say, okay, which one of these am I going to take tonight? So the first thing I did, right, to become more visual is the Chico Span and Kijutsu, right? Before it was yellow and blue. I changed them both to green. A light green and a dark green. The light green is the short term, the Kijutsu, and the dark green is, the Tenketsu, and the dark green is the Kijutsu, right? And when price goes above those, that is usually a good sign, right? That a trend is coming. So what I did is I have it now where when price goes above the Tenketsu, it turns green. When it goes above the Kijutsu, that also turns green. So you have both green and it's a go, right? When price breaks below the Tenketsu, the Tenketsu will turn red, right? So here it's green, here it's red now. And that's because when you're in a uptrend, right, we get retracements back to the Kijutsu and then back up, back to the Kijutsu, back up. So this right here is telling you we're still in a retracement. If we break below this, we're no longer in a retracement, we're possibly in a reversal, right? So when that happens, both of these will turn red, like this, right? So now you have it below both, and both turned red, and you see price is now reversing. So that is the first change I made. And the second change I made is when price falls below the Tenketsu, the candles turn blue. As long as we're above the Tenketsu, it is a light blue. It may look white on your screen because it's that light of a blue. So right here, we're looking at this as possibly a retracement. And if it falls here, reversal. So with this system, I have it set, and you could change this, right? But right now I have it set, and I'm going to back test it in a different way too, where if we break below the Tenketsu, it's going to get me out of the trade, right? So I'm in on the first light blue candle, I'm out on the first dark blue candle, as long as my other indicators are giving me the go-ahead, right? Now I also added the Ichimoku score multi-time frame, which I found this indicator. I never used it before, or I did back test it and it just didn't give enough. So I played around with the settings, and I kind of like these settings, and I back tested it with a different setting. So if you look, if the original settings, if you go to if I use the original settings, this is telling me I should be in all through here, right? And it doesn't get me out of trade until here. So let's look at that, right? This would tell me, right? It's telling me here I should be in, and it's telling me stay in all the way through till here, right? So I got in here, I get out here, and I would have had, for all that waiting, not much, right? 16%. 16% for, let's see, August of 21 to December of 21. So 5 months, and I would have only seen a 16% increase. So I played around with the settings because I wanted something that's a little bit more reactive, right? Get me in and out of trades going. 1 second. Let me just put this on. And then I tested it with these, and what I did is I did it on Litecoin because I had, well, you know what? Before we go into this actual indicator and the changes we made, let's no, actually we'll do this first. All right, so what I did is I took this through Litecoin because it just happened to be what was on my screen at the time, and every time I got my signals down here and I got my light blue candle or white candle, I took a trade, right? And I did it over 2 years time, right? So the vertical green line is where I entered a trade, right? Where I got my signal, entered the trade, and where I exited the trade. Here I was getting the signal on all three, so even though it's not white, I took it on this orange candle. Here's my exit signal. So we enter here, we exit here. Even if the candle's not blue, if I was getting my exit signals here, I took it. I took the exit. So over the course of 2 years' time, right, this would have been a win, this would have lost, win, loss, win, 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 loss, 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 win, 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 right, loss, win. So what we did is I went through each one of these and I said, okay, if I had a $10,000 account starting here and I put in a 2% risk, which, so I have $10,000 and I put my ATR on. Let me, right, so I put my ATR on. My ATR was at 1.5%, 1.5. So I didn't use my typical take profit scenario like I usually do. Usually when I enter a trade, I take profits at 1, 2, and 3 ATR levels. And you see that works out pretty well too. Right, so if I took the trade here, I would have took my first take profit here, 50%. Right, I would have took 50% there, and we probably would have never hit the second take profit. Right, it would have reversed. Actually, let's see. No, it would have missed it. It would have reversed. I would have got stopped out. Right, because when I take my first take profit, I usually move my stop loss to break even, which means I would have got stopped out on this candle. So, but for this system, I didn't do the ATR, take profits. I just said get in when we get the white candle, get out when we get the blue candle, as long as everything else is lining up. Over the course of 2 years, actually before we get that in, so let's say I got a $10,000 account, right? I'm allowed a 2% loss on any of my trades. So 2% loss on a $10,000 account is $200, right? My ATR, so if I took the trade at $39.06, my loss per share, if this thing comes down and hits my stop loss, would be at 29.33, right? So what I do is I'll take my buy price, which is 39.08, and I take away $29.33. So I know I'm going to lose $9.75 per share if this thing goes against me and hits my stop loss. I'm allowed a $200 loss. So what I'll do is I'll take $200 divided by 975, and that is how many shares I can buy. So I can buy $20, 20.51 coins, right at the current price of 39.08, right? 39.08. So times 39.08. So in this particular trade, I was allowed to put $800 in, and then I see what I got out at, and I would have exited my trade here at 42.36. So 42.36 times the 20.51 shares or coins, right? I would have made $69 on this trade. Now, I went through each one, and here's the results of them. And I do this with every one of my systems, guys. I never take, if I see a system out there on the internet and somebody's saying, oh, 90% wins and this and that, right? I never take anybody's word for it. I go into detail what exactly the system is, what their entry is, what their exit is, where the stop losses are, and I'll put it through the system and I'll back test it, right? And I can tell you firsthand, most of the systems that these guys are pushing out there do not work. They do not work. So, and when I first started trading, I bought a few of these indicators that were supposed to be amazing, and I back tested them and they don't work, guys. A lot of them. So I don't know if you could see this, right? We went through each one, and you could see how I can't tell if, right? The thumbnail's too small on my screen, so I can't tell if you could see this. But anyway, the first trade was 8-2, so you would have had 10,069, and I'm just going to go through a few of them. Next trade, you would have been able to put in 1,800 at 67, then 2168, then 2490, then 3,280, then 3,548. So each trade can significantly be different depending on where the stop loss is, on how much you could put in, right? The wider your stop loss, the less money you're going to be able to put in a trade, because your stop loss is so far away that if it comes down there, if you put in $2,000 and it comes all the way down there, you're going to lose a lot of money, and you're going to lose way more than 2%. So you have to always take into factor where your stop loss is, and when it's close, you can put in more money. When it's further away, you put in less money. But the ATR is based on the volatility of the stock at any given time. So when a stock is really volatile, you have to have a wide stop loss, because you don't want to get stopped out, right? The idea is not to get stopped out. You want to stay within that volatility so that you don't get stopped out. But because of that, because it is volatile at that time, you have to take a wide stop loss, and because of the wide stop loss, you have to put in less money, right? So we went through each trade. Over the course of 2 years, it gave us 32 trades. Out of those 32 trades, we would have won 17 of them. We would have lost on 15 of them. So it's a 54% win rate on this particular system. However, the profit factor is 3.98, which is phenomenal, right? A good profit factor is 2, right? And what a profit factor is, it's telling you how many dollars you made for every one you lost, right? So in this system, I made $3.98 for every dollar that I lost, right? That's a 3.98% profit factor. So that's pretty damn good. Most systems I see out there are 1.6, 1.7, 1.9. So to get a 3.98 is fantastic, right? And the average trade, you're in 11 days. The loss on this over 2 years on Litecoin, you would have made 7,000. I forgot what it was. It was 7,300, I believe, somewhere around there, and you would have lost 1,800. So you had a profit of. I know I wrote it down somewhere. $5,435 over a 2-year period on this particular system, right? And that's 32 trades. Now, keep in mind, this is not the only thing you're doing, right? So you might be trading this, you might be trading other coins. So, and you might say, well, what would have happened if I left my money in Litecoin for 2 years? Well, if you left your money in Litecoin for 2 years, you just took the whole $10,000 and you bought it on March 14th, 2020. That $10,000 would have turned into 25,752. So with this trading system, you made 15,000, right? Your 10,000 would have been 15,435. If you left all 100% in, you would have been at 25,000, which is better. However, your money is trapped there for 2 years. I'm only in 11 days at a time, and I'm taking that money when I get it back and putting it into something else, right? Or I might have 2 trades running at the same time. So over the 2 years, I probably would have beat you than your long-term hold. What else can I say about this? Well, another thing I found by backtesting, right? And this is why you should always backtest. I could have made this more profitable, because if you look at all these trades, my stop loss has never been hit. Not in one. I always got the exit signal way before my stop loss. Like this, for example, right? My stop loss was all the way down here. By the time I got my exit signal, I was up here, right? It came nowhere near my stop loss. Same thing. Let's take off this. Oh, I got to keep it on, actually. Let's go. Put this on and let's take off these. Right, so same thing. Here's my stop loss on this one. This one got pretty close to my stop loss, but it didn't hit it. Here my stop loss was down here. I got the exit signal all the way up here. Here, got pretty close to my stop loss. Here, my stop loss was down here, and I got my exit signal all the way up here. Right? Stop loss down here, exit signal all the way up there. Stop loss was right here, exit signal all the way up here. Right? So by going through every one of these, I realized that I can move my stop loss up. I don't have to have such a wide stop loss. Maybe I can move, I haven't checked it out yet, but I could probably move my stop loss instead of a 1.5, maybe to a 1.2 ATR, right? And by doing that, because my stop loss is closer now, right, I could take bigger positions. And if I take bigger positions, obviously over the course of these 32 trades, my profitability is going to get that much better. The other thing I haven't done yet right? We had 17 wins, 15 losses, right? I haven't added a filter onto this yet. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for another indicator that I could overlap onto this. I'm probably going to get rid of one of these because from what I see, they're pretty redundant. They almost fire off exactly the same time every time. So there's no reason to have them both. I'm going to probably replace one of these when I find a good filter. And what a filter does is it gives you less trades. It's a little bit more stringent, right? So while you're getting trade, the other indicator might say yes, yes, no, no, right? Yes, yes. And you want to try to find a filter that's going to filter out more losing trades than winning trades. And if you could do that, right? If I could find a filter that may filter out one winning trade and 3 losing trades, now I increase my profitability even more, right? Because now instead of having 32 trades, I only have 28 trades, right? But out of those 28 trades, I have 16 winners and 12 losses, right? So now, not getting a loss, same thing as a win, right? So that is the next thing I'm going to work on. I haven't had a chance to work on it yet. So there's 2 things. I got to find a better ATR that will keep us from getting stopped out, but also a little closer that we can take more risk. Well, the same risk, but you can put more money in. Sorry. So that's what I came up with so far, guys. And we're going to use this system. We're going to look at what this system did for me yesterday, right? I didn't get into any trades yesterday, but I was back testing, so I went through everything and I got some signals. Let's see how those signals would have worked out today had you taken them. So here's all the, you know what, let's, all right. So these were, the green are the ones I was considering taking. Right, let's go back. Right, so I got the signal here yesterday on BAT. And I wasn't really crazy about it because we were at the resistance line. I knew there was a possibility we'd break out, but I probably wouldn't have taken it. And look, 10.83%. And let's look at what the top performing coins are. Right, MER, GRT, which is green, that was one of my picks. OGN, green, that was one of my picks. BAT, one of my picks. The yellow are also the picks that I had. So KNC and VGX. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So out of 10 top performing coins for last night, 5 of them were my choices for yesterday. And let's go back to, oh, sorry. So let's go back. So BAT gave us a signal. GRT was giving us a signal, right? All across down here. Even the new Ichimoku score was giving us a signal. And look, nice 15% move, right? Litecoin was giving me a signal, and I am going to take Litecoin tonight, guys. It's a possibility we get rejected from the Kijinsen tonight, but I think it's a good opportunity. So I am probably going to take Litecoin tonight. OGN I wasn't going to touch. We just had these huge candles, right? And it is getting weaker, right? You can see big candle, medium candle, smaller candle. So it is getting tired, and it's probably going to reverse sooner or later. Maybe come back, test this, right? Test this area before trying to make another leg. But as far as this, I'm not going to move into this. That's chasing, right? You get into candle after this, 34% move, you're chasing the market, and this thing could come down the next day 34%. So wouldn't have touched that. ZEC I'm waiting for to come down here. right? So this would be kind of your 38 Fibonacci level. This is your 50% Fibonacci level. If you take it from here and you do the move up to here, you could see 50% Fibonacci level right there, 38 right there. So if this is a strong uptrend with ZEC right now, it could possibly bounce off of here and continue on up, or it could come back down to the 50 and go back up from there. So I was waiting for it. As soon as I saw a break here, again, this was a huge candle. I'm not going to take, a position on a huge candle like that. I'm going to wait for price to go up and come back down. Now, this is probably a good area to take ZEC right here, because this was resistance here, so I expect it to act as support when we test it again at 134. I think this tonight may be a good place to take a position on ZEC. But I did hear some stuff about privacy coins, some news about the UK. I think I did, right? I was like going through some stuff and I saw it and I said, I gotta go back and read this, and I never got a chance to. So maybe there's something else better out there to be had right now. I got the signal on this yesterday. It does look like it's trying to break through, so DOT might be a good play right now. KNC was giving me a continuation signal yesterday, right? So we had the move, came down, got a continuation signal here, possibly for more upside. Now that we're here, I really should have took it yesterday. Here it's possible we get stopped, double top, and back down. I think more likely we'll probably break through and continue. But it's just a little bit more risky now because it did move, right? It did move good 20%, right? So your stop loss would have to be here, and if it wants to come back down and test this, right, you're gonna get stopped out. But it is looking good, guys. LCX wasn't giving me a signal. Yes, well, it was on my indicator here, but it didn't give me the blue. But it would have probably been an okay trade. But we're just kind of range trading, and because we had already went down to the top, down, and we kind of almost touched the top, I think there was more chance we were coming down, and we did. This wick comes all the way down, so maybe tonight we'll come back down, we'll come back up to 10 cents, right? We're just kind of, right, it's not a trade I want to take, but it was signaling. So I just think this is too tight of a range to really make any money on it. OXT's red, orange. Did get a signal on it yesterday, and to be fair, if you were using the other system that I used to use, that was at 10.98%. If you were using as your take profits the ATRs, you probably would have hit your take profit. Yep, you would have hit your first take profit. You would have got out 50% right here, and if it continues up, you'd make more money. You would have got stopped out as you would have took 50% take profit and been out, and you would have had all your money back, and you would have made 10% on your 50% of your money. So that's another thing you have to decide when you're coming out with a system, right? And I am going to test this. I am going to retest this using the ATR take profit system too, because a lot of times, with the other trade that I showed you, where you're getting in and then you're taking profit here, right? If you look at this trade, if I would have took this here and got out here, so I would have took it here at 25 cents, and by the time it exited, it was 26 cents basically. So I would take 100% on a penny move, whereas if I did my ATR, I probably would have took out 50% here, 30% here, and I would have been 80% out of trade. So would this have been more profitable going the ATR route, or would it have been more profitable just taking 100% over here? And sometimes in this situation, this may become a losing trade, right, for small loss, whereas I would have made money by doing the ATR. The difference is when you get a huge run, right, you get a 40-50% run, with the other system, you're in that whole run. Whereas this, you might be, 100% out of trade by the time it gets to this range, and then it runs another 40-50%. So you have to decide what's more comfortable for your trading style. As a new trader, I like doing the ATR way because you do get a lot more winning trades, a lot less, so it helps you build your confidence. And then when you get fed up of missing out on those really big moves, you get smarter and you say, well, I don't want to miss these big moves, right? So what can I do to change that? And then you start back testing different things, right? And because you back tested it and you know it works, you feel confident. So I always say you really have to back test things yourself, guys. Don't take people's word for it, because when you get a losing streak of 3 or 4 losing trades, you're going to lose confidence in that system. And you're going to start saying, well, I got to find something else, or I'm going to change this, or I'm going to change that, right? So you always want to back test. I know it's tedious and it takes time, but believe me, the confidence you will have in your system when you back test it and you know it works over a long period of time, you won't worry about 3 losses in a row or 4 losses in a row. Because when you don't have confidence, like I know this 32 wins right now, before I add a filter, the biggest losing streak I had was 4 losses in a row. The biggest winning streak I had was 5 wins in a row. So I know if I lose 4 trades, yeah, that sucks, but most likely my next trade is going to be a winning trade, right? And if I could back test that on different assets and see that the average is maybe 3 or 4 losses in a row, then I know my next one's probably going to be the winner. And the biggest mistake I can make is not taking that 4th, 5th trade, right? And that's the hardest one to take because you just lost 3 times in a row. But that would be a mistake. And the other mistake would be, well, I took 2%, 2%, 2%, and I lost 3 times in a row. You know what? This time I'm only going to take 1%. Because now the winning trade, you had less than your 3 losing trades. So you always want to kind of stay with the same amount of money, right? You don't want to just say, you know what, this time I'm feeling strong about this, I'm going to put 3% into it, and you know what, this time I'm not feeling, I'm only going to put 1%. You got to have a system, like this. Maybe in this system, and I might back test this again, right? My trades that are under the cloud, maybe I only put 1%, right? And my trades that are above the cloud, maybe I'll put 2%, right? So if most of my losing trades happen under the cloud, then that would kind of make sense, right? So these are all different things you could backtest, different scenarios you could backtest, and make your profitability stronger. But let's look at RLC now. RLC, still orange, right? I probably want to wait for a light blue candle on these. We're getting a signal on SKL today. Actually, not a full signal yet. Right, we got the candle color, but we didn't get the water tar explosion is not firing. We do have the cross on the RTSI, and this looks like it just wants to cross now. It just flipped, right? 2 seconds ago, it was just down here. So we wait for the candle close. We may have a signal on this by the end of the day. SKL. VGX is firing a signal. We look like we're about to break the, you got to wait for candle close though, right? Because we still got 2 hours left. This thing could come right back down under here. And we'll be at the, but we could still have a signal. We have to see, right? All this stuff changes until we get a full signal. So VGX signaling, XLM is also signaling. Let's wait till the end of close. But let's look at anything else. Let's look at everything else. We've got an orange candle here, possibly good signal by the end of the day. Nothing. And this is, I'm going to show you why I like the visual aspects on my chart, because I could blow through these charts real quick. And when you're crunching numbers or looking for a trade to get into, and you have 100 assets you got to look through, it's just way easier, right? To just kind of boom, nothing, possibly by the end of the day, nothing, possibly by the end of the day, nothing, 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 right? And we could just scroll through these real quick. Possible. I'm going to have to do this closer to 8 o'clock because some of those do look like they're about to fire. But nothing here is telling me to get in, right? I could just blow past these. There's no sense in looking at them any further. It could be my favorite coin. It's not giving me anything, right? So I'm not going to sit here and look at a coin and says, oh, it's possibly going to go up from here, right? It's not signaling. There's nothing to do with it. Possibly going to be getting a signal on Link today, right? Link's been in this huge down wedge, man. So a breakout of this is going to look nice. But let's see. We might get a signal at the end of the day, right? All our systems firing here. This may be a good trade to take tonight on Link. And you guys know how I love Link, so maybe I'm biased, right? Put it that way. Maybe I have a bias to Link, so don't take my word for it. We could very well still get rejected from this Kijisen. I'd like to see Link go up from here. Loom, right? Possible. Possible by the end of the day. Myrrh, probably wouldn't take it here, right? It's possible we got the high, higher high, and now we're going to get the low, right? Get rejected from here and start making staircase down, right? It had a big run, man. Let's look at this, right? It's 110% in what? 3, 6, 9, 11 days. So I don't know. Maker's giving us a signal today. It's not firing on the Ichimoku yet, but I'm gonna mark this off. And that could change by the end of the day, right? We still got 2 hours to go. That could go back to yellow. I'd be keeping an eye out for this right here, right? Because we bounced here twice before. Maybe we'll bounce here again. We looked like we were going to bounce here the other day, and it got a big move up and then rejected right away, right? Got about a, let's see, 17% move, came back down. So I could see it testing here again and pushing back up. Right, that's a different type of trade, but something I was keeping my eye on. Right, so that's it, guys. I'd probably stick. SOL looks like it might give a signal today. We don't quite have it here yet. We don't even have it in the RTSI yet. Has to close above 84.73 today to get a signal on it. By then, hopefully this indicator down here will fire. Storage, nothing, nothing, nothing. Possible on Uni. Wi-Fi. BTC. BAT. Anyway, I'm thinking so far, I'm definitely taking Litecoin tonight, most likely. I might take DOT. Right, but DOT's a hard one because this is in the descending triangle pattern. Might fail, might come back down. I don't know. I'm definitely liking Litecoin. I'd stick with some of these right here. DOT, KNC. Right, if you think ZEC's going to turn here and make another leg up, which is possible, I'd want it to get a little closer. Maybe come in. Yeah, actually, I want to see it test this. So I want to see it come down at least 133. And that would probably be a good area to buy. Right. Looking to see if there's any news on the privacy coins, because I do think I saw some news on it. But I'm gonna leave you with that tonight, guys. I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, and I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow or the next day. All right, let's see what Bitcoin does. Now that we got the new system, I'm looking forward to putting it to work. Let's see if we get some more signals tomorrow. Maybe I'll put it out on my Facebook if I see something firing by the end of the night, by this evening. A trade that I'm going to take, I'll put it on my Twitter. But as for that, take care, be well, and I will talk to you soon.